Would you look at that? Isn't that something? Walking into a mall and seeing nothing. Quite the first impression, wouldn't you say? This is the Eastland Mall in Bloomington, Illinois. It opened in 1967 and has expanded several times in its over 50-year history. The only anchor store left is Kohl's. But how did we get here? At its opening, the mall was anchored by JCPenney and Sears, both of which moved from downtown. Eastland Mall housed many local and national tenants, including Woolworth, Kurland's Hallmark Gold Crown, a Walgreens drugstore which relocated outside the mall in 1991. Several of the mall's tenants had also moved from downtown, including Sinner Sewing Center, Chadman's Diamond and Gold Center. The latter had been in business since 1892, as well as other tenants like grocery stores and a movie theater. As mentioned, the mall was expanded several times in its history, the first of which was with a Bergner's department store in 1973, the first new department store to open in the city in more than 30 years. Kohl's was added a decade later. A food court was added shortly after, in 1989, followed by a mall-wide renovation a year later. Sears expanded its store in 1997, and a Famous bar was added just 2 years later in 1999, which of course became Macy's in 2006. The mall would continue to remain mostly in shape until a decade later, when on January 4th, 2017, Macy's announced that it would close its store. After the announcement, JCPenney stated only 2 months later in March that they would be closing their store in August. In 2018, it was announced that the vacant JCPenney store would be subdivided, with a Planet Fitness and H&M opening in the fall of 2018. The bad news didn't stop, however, because on April 18th, 2018, Bergner's announced that its store would be closing in August as a result of the Bon-Ton Company going under. The store had closed, which left Kohl's and Sears as the only anchor stores. But not for long, because in August 2018, Sears announced that its store would be closing in November. And afterwards, Kohl's was the only traditional anchor store left, and it is still open today. Now the mall is, as you see it, mostly dead, with only a few shops still hanging on. The only real surprise for us was to see FYE still open in here. Something that was really cool to see was the food court. Yeah, sure, it was pretty empty, but what was really cool was the ceiling. Reminded me a lot of the Washington Square Mall in Indiana that we saw. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of our Dead Malls series. Tell us what you think in the comments below, and if you have any suggestions for future malls to cover. This is the TSG. Until next time.